Carlos, and this is Elise. We're from Group 3. And I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Peace. He is a hip-hop artist, a spoken word poet, a youth minister, and a youth speaker.
He's also known as being a great friend and has been speaking for 10 years. So please join us in giving a warm, HOBY welcome to our next speaker, Mr. Peace.
Check, check, test, test. Can you guys hear me back there? You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. My name's Kevin, or Mr. Peace. You guys can call me Peace, Peace Geese, Peace Please, whatever you want to call me. But I'm gonna just focus on a little bit of hip hop, if that's cool with you guys. Okay. You guys have hoods, put your hoods up, and 2 fingers up for Peace Please. Thank you. Mic check. 1, 2. All right, there we go. So music has just gotta kind of consume you. It's gotta like soak into your pores like the body lotion, you know? Your epidermis. All right, listen in. Check it. Yeah. That's how we got automatic. The impact it makes is the same type of influence. I want how people's pain. The only way to do it, sing for the moment. Yeah, the only way to do it is keep for the broken and remain a proponent of peace. Have a plain spoken, open it's up to us. Yeah, we are the chosen few. So let this burden get straight. If a rope tight to the small of my bag, I'll carry weight similar to the smallest of bands. Up to 50 times what I weigh. How about that? So we sing for the kid that has no voice. Cause as a child of love, we don't have a choice. It's an obligation to promote inner peace. What the Dalai Lama says, our job is human beings. So we never stay idle. If need be in sight, Orion, we speak out loud. We don't stay quiet, but we only keep it verbal. No throwing a punch. Even if the bowling takes your money, no free lunch. Just know a bunch of us are called to a vision and helping each other. Now a part of the mission. So do not despair and never lose hope. Even when you think you can't take another mean joke, need help with the minds and then you're calling Dick Tracy. If you're looking for love, you found him, Mr. Peace. So sing with me, sing for the years, sing for the laughter, sing for the tears. Sing with me, just for today, never tomorrow. Take it away. All right, now we're warmed up. All right, cool. So that's how I wake up every morning. I have a different beat on my alarm clock. It starts playing it, I just start freestyling. I'm joking. But it's really awesome to be here with you guys today. Like I said, my name is Mr. Peace. And I have an awesome job. I get to travel the country and speak to students all over the U.S. And I speak from age 5 up to age 95. But before beginning my talks, I'd just like to let everybody know that I'm speaking to. Before I begin speaking, I'd like to let my audience know that every single breath that I take this morning is going to be worth your time. It was probably about 2.5 years ago when I'm driving on this 2-lane highway. And I'm going the speed limit, I'm going like 55 miles an hour. And this guy decides to pass me. It's like big like F-150 truck. And I drive a Jeep Patriot. And so he passes me, like probably going like 65, 67. And I'm like, no, you did not just pass me. You did not just pass me. And he told me I was number 1. And so then I said, no, I'm gonna speed up, I'm gonna pass him. So I started going like 75, like almost 80 down this 55. And I passed him back and I'm like, booyah, grandma. And all of a sudden, this whole family of geese. And I just like swerve to the right and pull on the shoulder. My heart's like pumping like crazy. And I'm like, just trying to catch my breath. And the guy repasses me, tells me I'm number 11 now. And then I'm just chilling on the side, like trying to catch my breath. And then all of a sudden, I hear this tap on my windshield. It's like, I look up, it's one of the geese. It's like, he's like sitting on my hood. And he's like with his wing, he's like kind of motioning like to roll down the window, you know? I'm like, you know, so I kind of just hit it real quick, and he's like, puts his little beak like through the window and he's like, Mr. Peace. I said, how'd you know my name? It says on your license plate. I said, he's like, Mr. Peace, you see what just happened there? I said, yeah. This guy just wronged me. He went up to me, tried passing me. I wasn't gonna let that happen, so I'm gonna pass him back. Get back at him. He's like, no. You almost just killed my entire family and I. Because you were too busy doing the comparison game. Too busy trying to one-up somebody. And you know, I see so much pain that gets caused in the schools that I visit, the places that I go where, because we're worried about the brand name, right? The Abercrombie, the Aeropostale, the Old Navy, the Under Armour A, the Hollister A, the Victoria's Secret pink, even though a lot of the clothing isn't that color. And we get so caught up in that stuff. And that, you know, we get like, someone's taller than me, someone's better at me at this, someone's has this, I don't have that. And a lot of bullying starts as a result of that. And so I tell you the story not just because it's how I got my Instagram name, Mr_Peace_Geese, but because it's true. You know, every day in the U.S., 160,000 students, and that number keeps growing. 160,000 students skip school. They skip school because they're too afraid to come to school. They're too afraid to get intimidated, bullied, harassed, ridiculed. How many of you guys ever been too afraid to come to school? Show hands. Thanks for being honest. My hand's up too. You know, in bullying, right, it could be something physical where you punch, you kick somebody, you throw them down. It could be verbal, something to say with our mouth. Someone just mentioned the social media thing now, so yeah, it could be through a tweet, you commenting on a post, DMing somebody, sending an email, sending a text message. Could be something where you just exclude that person, like they aren't part of your group, they can't sit with you, they can't be with, like, on your team or whatever it is. When you do that, that's a form of bullying. Just sometimes how you look at somebody is a form of bullying. But why does it happen? What do you guys think? Why does bullying happen? Yeah.
They themselves, the bullies, have a lack of confidence.
So maybe they got like a low self-esteem, some of the bullies, so they're gonna pick on somebody else to try to get power over them. Thanks. What's your name? Marissa, thanks. Anybody else? Yeah.
Most boys have been bullied in the past. They were born most people because they don't think anyone's understand what they went through. They were bullied.
So maybe someone that's being the bully is also getting bullied too, right? Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Yeah.
Jealousy.
Jealousy is a big one, for sure. Sometimes, like, just to get a laugh, right? Yeah, one more.
We can get how people around people.
So someone's different than us. They look different. They're different size, different build, different talent, whatever it is. And we choose to separate, right? The biggest reason, though, that I've seen, I've spoken to almost 500,000 youth the last 10 years. And the biggest reason that I've seen why people bully is because hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people, right? But you know what else I've seen? And I've just come to understand is that healed people heal people. Healed people heal people. My friend Dwayne, who was in high school, the last 2 years of high school, 2 years straight, him and his friend, they put down this girl because of her weight. 2 years straight. Made fun of her because of her weight. 10 years later, he moves back to his hometown where he went to high school. He's shopping in the supermarket, right, with his cart, goes down this aisle, sees the girl that he put down. And he just had to go down this other aisle, right? He couldn't even look at her. And as he's telling me the story, he's crying, saying that you don't want to be me. Because he felt so guilty and so ashamed how he treated this person over 10 years ago. Since then, he's healed, and he's moved on, right? And now, this person that caused this hurt has decided to become healed himself so he can start trying to cause more healing, right? These two girls, two 6-year-olds, first graders, I had an assembly. A lot of times I draw like this big heart on a dry erase board. And I said, hey, pretend that's your heart. And I say, pretend that somebody says one mean thing to you, right? Like they say that you're not smart, they say that you're ugly, they say that you're worthless, whatever it is. Pretend that that's one mark on your heart. Now pretend that 5 people do that same mean thing, say the same mean thing, that's 5 marks on your heart, right? And pretty soon, this heart, over a month's time, 30 days, 5 times 30, 150, right? That's 150 marks on this heart. Pretty soon it's completely colored in, completely dark. And usually I use like black and blue markers, so it looks like the same color as like a bruise, like heart bruises, right? So after my assembly, Danielle and Angelina come up to me, they're 6 years old. They say, hey, Mr. Peace, our hearts look like that because we're getting bullied. And they're 6 years old. So I'm thinking to myself, how's a heart going to look when they're in 2nd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 12th grade, and beyond? And since that time, these people that weren't causing the hurt but were hurting have since healed, right? And are choosing to heal other people. Even one of my buddies, he's in his 30s, right? And he made it his job to put this one kid down. Him and his friends for a year straight. This kid sat alone at lunch. It was in 8th grade. And every day, him and his buddies made it their job to say, you're a loser, you're a loner. 9th grade rolls around, they combine all these schools in the district into this, they form this mega high school. Student population skyrockets. And all of a sudden, this guy that was really popular, right, he kind of gets lost in the crowd. And so he drops a couple ranks on the totem pole of popularity. First day of freshman year, he's forced to sit alone at lunch. Guess who he has to sit next to? The person that he put down. So he sits down next to the kid, and the kid looks at him and says, it sucks, doesn't it? It sucks, doesn't it? And all of a sudden, he kind of felt how this other person felt. And see, like bullying, right? It's got to be over and 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 over again on purpose to gain power over somebody. I had this 5-year-old, this kindergartner, come up to me and said, hey, Mr. Peace, I'm getting bullied. I said, when did it start? He said, 5 minutes ago. I said, well, it's probably not bullying, right? But it's just as important because just one action can leave a mark on someone's heart forever, right? So guys, we need to realize our impact. How many of you guys dream at night? You guys dream ever? Okay, great. So listen, I'm dreaming. And in my dream, I bought a Toyota Prius and a cow. And so I was with my buddy. I said, look, you take the Prius home, I'm going to take the cow. And looking back in the situation, the cow's very heavy, right? And so I probably should have just used the Toyota Prius to do that. But I didn't. And so I had the cow, put it in this crate, put it on my back, and I started walking home. And so I'm walking back, and all of a sudden, I'm going through these like hills, like these frolicking meadows, kind of like the Sound of Music. If you guys ever seen the movie? And all of a sudden, I hear this like noise in the distance. It's like, I'm like, what's going on? And it keeps getting like louder and closer, and I'm just like, I'm trying to kind of start to walk a little bit faster. And all of a sudden, I see these like barrels rolling down the hill, right? And there's these kids inside of them. These are like 3rd or 4th graders, right? I'm like, oh shoot. So I'm going like crazy to get away from this barrel, and last second, it's coming right at me, so I throw the cow and I dive to the right. This chair is broken. Do not sit here, guys. Danger zone. I feel like Kenny Loggins right now. Okay, but anyways, so the barrel with this kid goes right through the crate, right through my cow. I rush over to Matilda. So, no, Matilda. And it's just like tubes everywhere. It's like one of those Avatar type cows, got all these connections, like laying everywhere. And I'm just like, oh, darn kids. So, and I kneel down next to her and I hear this whisper. She's like, fix me. Fix me. I remember just taking a couple steps back and saying, I don't have time. I don't have time. I'll tell you what, sometimes it just takes a couple seconds to either uplift somebody higher than the clouds and empower them, build them up, or cut them so deep that something you say or do stays with them forever. And it might just be one action, right? It might not be bullying. Everybody say Irene Kapko. Irene Kapko, you guys can say it. Irene Kapko's my friend. She's 101 years old, right? A little bit older than you. And so Irene, it's back in February, and we're kicking it at her birthday party in February. I'm at her house eating some cake. Irene still emails too, I'm serious. She's 101. She doesn't drive, but she still emails, doesn't do Instagram and Twitter, but she still emails. And Irene, I'm sitting with her, I'm like, Irene, you're over 100 years old, like, tell me some stories. Tell me like the good times, the bad times, the sad times, the glad times, right? And I said, just tell me something. And she said, Kevin, I remember one of my most hurtful things that happened to me growing up was in 4th grade. And I was in front of the whole class, and this boy got in front of the class, probably about like these first 3 rows like that size. And he made fun of my height. He teased me because I was short. And I still remember it. I said, Irene, that happened over 90 years ago. She's like, I know. But it still, it like hurt me so much. I think about this kid, his first name was Dominic. He was a 3rd grader. And he said back in 1st grade, he had his heart crushed by this girl, right? And I'm thinking to myself, you know, kids are starting to date younger and younger nowadays, and I wasn't sure about what was going on. Was it Facebook official? Because back then Facebook was in. So all these thoughts go through my mind, and turns out he was on the bus, and a 5th grader just one time. But you got to think about like a 5th grader to a 1st grader, like the impression, right? Because literally, at that age, you do look up to them, literally and also kind of figuratively, because like they're so cool. And this 5th grader says to him, "You're never going to have any friends. You're never going to have any friends, right?" How'd you guys feel if somebody said never have any friends? Anybody? How'd it make you feel? I'll tell you how some 1st graders responded at a school in Indiana that I just spoke to. I was talking to the 1st and 2nd graders. One person said, I cry myself to sleep every night, if someone said that to me. The second one said, I never want to come to school again. This 3rd, 2nd grader that I asked said, I wouldn't even want to be born. My heart would be broken to a million pieces. This teacher, her name was Kate, and she said this one action that happened to her wasn't bullying. She got asked by a group of the popular girls one day, back in 4th grade, to sit with them at lunch, right? And so when school started, like before they were about to enter the school, all lined up, these girls were like, hey Kate, today you can sit with us at lunch. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is my shot. I'm gonna finally fit in. I'm gonna be accepted. This is great, right? And so she gets her lunch tray, and she goes over to sit with the girls, and as soon as she gets to their table, they all stand on their chairs. And they shout across the lunchroom so everybody can hear them. And they say, hey everybody, check out Kate. She came in Fortnite's clothes. And she runs out of the lunchroom crying. She drops her lunch. Her parents didn't have a lot. Sometimes she wore the same outfit twice a week to school. She was always teased because of it, right? She remembers that 30 years ago. This other counselor said 40 years ago in 2nd grade, just a one-time incident, her teacher brought her to the front of the class. Her first name was Elizabeth. She brought her to the front of the class, and she said, class, we need to teach Elizabeth how to do math because she's too stupid to do it herself. A teacher. You can imagine like the impact on this person, right? Crazy. But I need you guys to really realize like your impact. So can I get like 10 volunteers up here? Okay. I'll take hula guy back there. Hula, whatever that's called. I'll take you. I'll take you. Yeah, come on. Come on. How many do I got? Yeah, come on. Oh, yeah, sure. All right, so 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over there, I'll take. To you. Come on. And in the back of the cape. Is that a cape?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take you too. Yeah, and another guy. How many do I got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2. I'm showing. All right, so we got 9 plus 2, 11. That's good. I said 10, I really meant 11. You always do 1 to win. If it's push-ups, 10 push-ups, but it's really 11. You do 1 to win. If you get 3 Big Macs, it's really 4. Okay? It's always 1 to win. Now listen, you guys need to spread out. So you need to explore the space. So you're not like hitting anybody with your arms. Anybody seen the SNL skit, Blue Oyster Cult? Explore the space. Okay? So, just come over, yeah, come on down here a little bit. Okay? Kate, you go over here. Okay? All right? All right, we're good. So, actually, probably here's going to be easier for you for this example. Okay. So listen, here's how it's going to work. For this exercise, your feet are going to stay glued. Okay? So, get comfortable, like shoulder width apart, whatever's good for you. Okay? And they're not going to move. When I say go, you're going to spin one direction. You're coming to fourth field in August. But you're going to spin one direction and hold it. It doesn't matter which way you go. Okay? Either direction. So you're going to go as far as you can, keep your feet planted, spin as far as you can, hold it, and then wait for instructions. Okay? Ready? So ready? Spin. As far as you can, hold it. Now remember, like that spot. Could be a microphone, could be the flag, could be a brick, could be somebody, could be whatever, right? So just remember how far you went. Got it? Okay, now come back to base. Shake it off a little bit, keep your feet glued. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Breathe in that HOBY air. That's great. Okay, so. Sorry, did I just get it? Actually, I should have timed it a little bit better. I'm sorry. All right, so close your eyes. Just relax. And I want you guys all to imagine that you're some of the most amazing athletes on the face of this earth. You guys can high jump over buses. You guys can long jump 50 feet. You guys can run 2-minute miles, 5-second, 100-yard dashes. You guys are some of the most fastest, incredible human beings on the face of this earth. Breathe in all of your greatness, all your potential, all your worth. How great all of you are. And when I say go, I want you to spin again, keeping all that I just told you in mind. How much of miracles you guys are. Keeping all that I just fed you, keeping all that in mind. I want you to spin again and hold it. Ready? Go. How many of you guys improved? How many of you guys went further? Show hands. All right, you guys can have a seat. Good job. A round of applause. All right, so what happened there? What do you guys think? Yeah.
When you do someone's self-esteem, you make them feel like they're worth something that helps them, and then they start believing themselves.
For sure. And tell me your name. Laura. Rocks. So, how long did that take me? What do you think? 30 seconds max, maybe, right? What if I did the flip? What if I said, you guys are all losers, like you guys aren't going to spin any further, that's about as flexible as you get. Sometimes I get some yoga people that just like, they can like almost do like a 360, and I'm like, wait, I thought you flipped. And they're like facing me again, and like they aren't going to go any further. But most people improve like 20 to 30%, right? So tell me what changed. That I believed you guys, right? But that you also believed it back. And if I would have said the opposite, right? Some people wouldn't have gone further. They might have gone just as far, maybe not as far. There's always like 1 or 2 in the group that always want to prove me wrong. It's like probably like me, I guess. And so they would go farther just to spite me or something. But let's just think about this. It took 30 seconds to increase how far these people went. What kind of impact can you have over the entire school year and entire lifetime? See, that's the impact we have, guys. But we have to understand. And here's why it has to happen. I'm speaking to this middle school in Howell, Michigan. Any people from Howell? Okay, good to see you guys. I'm from Szawala originally. Brighton area, anybody from there too? Okay. But what? Good to see you. So, talking to this middle school, Parker Middle School in Howell, to these 8th graders, about the same topic today, kind of like anti-bullying, overcoming negative beliefs about yourself. And I come back 2 weeks later for their graduation ceremony for these 8th graders. I'm sitting in the back row. And they have an open mic towards the end. Parents can get up and share what's on their heart. And this mom stands up, she can barely stand, she has a cane. And she says, I just wanted to be here today for my daughter Julie. I'm fighting cancer. I checked myself out of the hospital against doctor's orders and just wanted to be here though for her graduation because it meant that much to her. She said, I just want to thank Mr. Peace for saving her life. The day I spoke, Julie came home. She went into her room, she pulled out a letter. She went to her mom. She tore it up in front of her and hugged her. She was ready to check out that night. And had I not come and spoke and shared my heart, she might not have been there at that graduation. I told them the same story at Churchill High School in Livonia a couple of years ago. And I stayed to have lunch with the students. This girl comes up to me crying. She hugs me, she says, Mr. Peace, I'm going to tear it up tonight too. Talking to Hartman Middle School, 7th grader comes up to me, says, Mr. Peace, I got a whole journal full of those. I'm going to burn it tonight. See, these bracelets I put on, got a Batman one too. These bracelets are my armor. I have hundreds of these. Those 3 stories I just told you, I have hundreds of those stories. People that were ready to leave because they were getting bullied that badly. And the words I share with them are why they're still here. And they gave me these because they didn't want to carry it any longer. Just recently I got this one, it's like a necklace, you know. And sometimes I get like wooden hands. I got these from somebody at Christmas time. Said I was helping hands during one of his life's greatest needs. His grandfather passed, his girlfriend broke up with him, he lost his job, and was getting bullied nonstop, all in a week's time. And he said, I was just helping hands during one of life's greatest needs. And I see these every day, and I think to myself, if I can just be one person that's helping hands, then I'm doing my job as a human being, right? And so, I always pick like 10 or 12 of these to put on, and I carry their stories with me through all these talks that I give, right? And all of you guys have that same power. Sometimes it takes me 25 minutes, and a 4th grader or 5th grader comes up to me and says, hey, Mr. Peace, you touched my heart. And it never fails. Sometimes I speak to a crowd this size, sometimes 2,000 or 3,000 at once, right, in an assembly. There's always a couple people in the back that are kind of zoned out or heckling, cracking jokes. Class clown, that was me, right, throughout middle and high school. They're the same ones that come up to me after my talks, and after I get done spilling my guts, and they say, thanks for being here today. Thanks for touching my heart. And I get it, because when I was your age, middle, high school, I was the one in the back putting the speaker down. And I did it because I felt so empty and so alone inside. And I needed anything to fill that void. Guys, it could be small actions of why we need to be all in to this life, because of the potential to save a life. Guys, I have a friend, her name's Deb, she's 50 years old. She told me back in her senior year, right, throughout those 4 years, throughout the 4 years of high school, there was this popular girl. And she always would smile at this girl. They would pass at least once a day in the hallways, and she would smile at this girl. And this girl was like the head goose. Like, you know, she had like a flying V crew behind her, and she'd walk through the hallways, you know, she was popular, pretty, everything. My friend was just kind of average. And she said, senior year came, and they were ready to trade senior pictures, right, with all their friends. Usually you lay them out like on a table like Pokemon cards and you kind of trade them. But the way that this happened, the way that she got one of these girls' pictures wasn't like that. This popular girl was walking through the hallway like she always did, held out her hand like this to my friend, shook the picture in front of her face and said, "Here." My friend took it, the girl kept walking. She put it in her pocket. She gets home, turns it over. First words says, "Your smile saved me." You have no idea how many times I came to school screaming on the inside, but having to look pretty on the outside. So many problems at home. And just thinking about seeing your smile is what gave me hope to keep going through these storms the last 4 years. She couldn't believe it, right? I had a sophomore that told me that she just randomly sent a text message to her friend down in Alabama who moved like 2 or 3 months ago. And she got a text message back and say, to tell her, it said, "You have no idea what you just did." She said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I was ready to check out. And I got your text, and I saw that someone actually cares." Guys, we all got that same power, right? But we gotta be all in. One of these bracelets I haven't taken off since 2006. It's this red one. It says, "Be the change, notice, choose, act." It's from a program called Challenge Day that I went to back in 2006 down in Toledo, Ohio. It was a workshop, 3-day workshop. Challenges youth to be the change. They've been on Oprah and TV, and they're based out of California. And I went there, 25 men, 25 women, right? Total strangers. But after 3 days of sharing our darkest secrets, like who we are, lowering the water level like the iceberg, 10% above water, 90% below it, truly getting real, they became closer than my family, these 50 strangers. The last day of the workshop, after seeing all the gold, all the worth, all the potential inside of all these human beings, the 2 facilitators asked a question. They said, "If you've ever thought about taking your life, please stand." And there was, out of 50 people, everybody except me stood up. And I just started crying. And so many of them talked about their times in high school and getting bullied to the point that they thought there's no way out. These same leaders on the first day of the workshop, they put us in a circle. I don't think they did that here at HOBY, but I could imagine that they would do something like this. But they put us in a circle, put some dance music on, right? They started calling us in one at a time to just start dancing in front of these 50 strangers that we've known maybe for like 5 minutes. So I get in the middle, and I'm like, already like getting worried, like what move do I do? Like what am I gonna do? And so I'm just kind of like trying to look cool and back and forth, like, okay, this is great. And then I just embrace it, and I'm just like, that's my move, okay. Took years to perfect. If you want lessons, let me know. So I call in the next person. His name is Dane. And he's kind of hiding behind somebody, so that's why I picked him. And he picked up to come up, right? Same thing. He's just like really awkward at first, and then he's like doing the Gangnam style. Before it was open Gangnam style, and he was just like embracing. He comes up to me afterwards. He says, "Mr. Peace, I'm so pissed that you picked me, but I needed it. I needed it." And these 2 leaders in the workshop, they said, "How is that like your life? Are you 50% in? Are you 75% in? Or are you 100% in?" Because when it comes to issues like bullying, when it comes to possibly having that type of impact, we have to be all in. We have to be fear-free. Otherwise, we are not having the maximum capability of our power here on this planet. Guys, the favorite holiday out of so many U.S. surveys and polls, and the top 3 usually, is Halloween. Sometimes even trumps Easter and Christmas on certain surveys, right? Not because of the candy. It's because it's one day out of the year you can creatively express like who you are. Be someone that, almost that you're not, right? But you're not judged for it. But the other 364 days, we do such a great job of putting on the mask. I'll tell you what, it takes so much energy to be someone you're not. It's so draining. And I was the chameleon, you know. I changed who I was around different groups just to fit in, and being accepted was more important than even standing up for things like my faith. And that hurts me to think about that I denied the core of who I was and other things about my personality. And guys, stories like this one are why we have to make this stuff happen. Why we all need to be all in, 100% in, to be able to stand up for bullying if it's happening to us, or to go get help if someone else is in need. This story, I just want to read to you real quick. It's called the Teddy Stollard story. And it says, Teddy certainly qualified as one of the least. Disinterested in school, wearing wrinkled clothes, hair never combed, kind of like mine. One of those kids in school with a deadpan face and unfocused stare. When Miss Thompson spoke to Teddy, he always answered in monosyllables. Unattractive, unmotivated, and distant, he was just plain hard to like. Even though his teacher said she loved all in her class the same, down inside, she wasn't being completely truthful. Whenever she marked Teddy's papers, she got a certain perverse pleasure in putting X's right next to the wrong answers. And when she put the F's at the top of his papers, she did it with a flair. But she should have known better. She had his records, and she knew more about Teddy than she wanted to admit. The records said, first grade, Teddy shows promise with his work and attitude, but poor home situation. Second grade, Teddy could do better. Mother is seriously ill. He receives very little help at home. Third grade, Teddy's a good boy, but too serious. He's a slow learner. His mother died this year. Fourth grade, Teddy's very slow but well behaved. His father shows no interest. Christmas came, the boys and girls in Miss Thompson's class brought her Christmas presents. They piled their presents on her desk, crowded around to watch her open them. Among the presents was one from Teddy. She was surprised that he brought her a gift, but he did, and Teddy's gift was wrapped in a brown paper with some scotch tape that said, for Miss Thompson, from Teddy. When she opened the present, out fell this gaudy rhinestone bracelet with half the stones missing, and a bottle of cheap perfume. The other boys and girls started to laugh over his gifts, but Miss Thompson at least had enough sense to put some of the perfume on and slip the bracelet on her wrist. Holding her wrist up for the children to see and smell, she said, doesn't it smell lovely? The children, taking their cues from their teacher, readily agreed with oohs and ahs. At the end of the day, when school was over, the other children had left, Teddy stayed behind. He slowly came to her desk and said softly, Miss Thompson, Miss Thompson, you smell just like my mother. And her bracelets look really pretty on you, too. I'm glad you like my presents. When Teddy left, Miss Thompson got down on her knees and asked for forgiveness. Next day, when the children came to school, they were welcomed by a new teacher. Her name was still Miss Thompson, but she'd become a new person, different person. She was no longer just a teacher, she was an agent of love. She was now a person committed to loving her children and doing things for them that would live on after her. She helped all the children, but especially the slow ones, especially Teddy. By the end of the school year, Teddy showed dramatic improvement. He had caught up with most of the students and even was ahead of some. She didn't hear from him for a long time. And one day she received a note that read, Dear Miss Thompson, I wanted you to be the first to know. I will be graduating second in my class. Love, Teddy Stollard. 4 years later, another note came, Dear Miss Thompson, they just told me I'll be graduating first in my class. I wanted you to be the first to know. The university hasn't been easy, but I liked it. Love, Teddy Stollard. And 4 years later, Dear Miss Thompson, as of today, I'm Theodore Stollard, MD. How about that? I wanted you to be the first to know I'm getting married next month, the 27th to be exact. I want you to come and sit where my mother would have sat if she were still alive. You're the only family I have now. Dad died last year. Love, Teddy Stollard. Miss Thompson went to the wedding. She sat where Teddy's mother would have sat. She deserved to sit there. She had done something for Teddy that he would never forget. And that's our challenge, is to do things for each other that other people are never going to forget, leaving these heart marks on their hearts, you know. I remember speaking to this youth group, and I went in this room, and there's this dry erase board, and this person traced their hand. It said, Brian was here. I'm thinking to myself, that's dumb. Someone's just going to erase that. Why'd you take your time, Brian? And so, but I realized that for a split second, right, this guy, he left his mark at that point in history and time. Nobody can ever take that away from him. And you know, there's things that we leave on other people's hearts, these heart marks, and some of them you can't see. But they stay there. And that's the impact we have and why it has to happen. Healed people heal people. Now listen, this requires us to need to look at the hearts. Right? Everybody like this real quick. I'll go like this. No, I'm just joking. Do that. But listen, this right here, right? This is as big as your heart, your fist. Unless you're the Grinch who stole Christmas. And one time the movie got smaller. So the idea is to turn this into this. And you know, Martin Luther King Jr., he said that, you know, hate doesn't drive out hate. If somebody bullies me, and I bully them back, and I hate them back, I've created more hate. Look, it's the hardest thing on this earth is to love your enemies, especially someone that's caused you so much pain. But these people are screaming inside for love. They need it so desperately. And what Martin Luther King Jr. also says is that love begets love, right? Violence begets violence, love begets love, and love is what overcomes the hate. If we choose that. Everybody ever heard of somebody named Nick Vujicic? Everybody say Vujicic. Say Vujicic. Say Vujicic. Okay, I know it's fun. So, Nick is from Australia. He's also a speaker. He's about this tall. He has no arms, no legs. That's how he was born. And he was given an assembly. He just got married 2.5 years ago. They're expecting their second kid. But he just was given this assembly a few years back. And in the corner is this mom and her 3-year-olds. And so he gets done with the assembly, people start to exit, right? It was inside of a gym. His mom lets her 3-year-old loose after the assembly. So the 3-year-old, you guys have any younger brothers or sisters, they just kind of go wherever they want, you know, and they hug walls and just do random things, right? And so this 3-year-old just starts to run around, right? Hop and skip. And pretty soon, though, she's heading right towards Nick. They're about the same height. And so she's going like full steam. And like just not even looking, and all of a sudden, last second, corner of her eye, she sees Nick and pumps on the brakes. And they're nose to nose. And she looks him up and down. What's going on here? She's never seen anybody without arms and legs, right? She doesn't get it. So this 3-year-old, her next move without hesitating, she puts both of her arms behind her back like this. And she hugs him with her neck like this. And that's the only way that Nick can hug, right, is their arms, so he hugs with his neck. But she didn't care how tall he was, she didn't care how much he had, she didn't care what he was wearing, she didn't care that he was different. She looked at this. That's all that mattered, right? You know, sometimes I'm with a group of like first and second graders. It's like just like a class of like 30. I'll bring in some fruit, bananas, apples, papayas, depends on what I'm feeling that day. And so I'll bring them in. Say, everybody pick a piece of fruit, right? And they all do. And I say, look, study that fruit. Look at that fruit. Be that fruit. And I tell them, like, see something on there, like a little mark, or like a dent, or like, you guys know, oranges, whatever, that you can like recognize it if I take it from you, put it in the same pile, right? And have you come and look for it. So even like first and second graders, after they have a couple minutes to like really see if there's like a significant mark on there, I'll take them back in a pile up here, have them come look through it, and they usually find a piece of fruit. Take them all back. With some teachers, some assistants, whoever it is, we peel all the fruit, put it back in the same pile. Can they still find their fruit? No, because it all looks the same. You know, there's times that I use like a $20 bill even, like for an example. Now like crumple it, I'll sneeze on it sometimes too. And I jump on it. LeBron James. Game 2 Sunday, Cavs, Warriors, anybody? What are you guys feeling? Yeah. Is that LBJ coming back? LeBron? Nope. Does he have a new pop now? Like LeBron got a good specific spray? I haven't tried it yet, but I heard it was good. Not too good? Okay. I gotta obey my thirst, so we'll see. Now, so back to $20 bill. So, like how LeBron James dunk, like just stomp on it. No matter what I do, this $20 bill can tear it a little bit, crumple it, crinkle it. It's still worth $20. I can take it back to a bank and give them this like really crummy $20 bill, and they'll give me a fresh, crisp, clean, brand new $20 bill. It's still worth just as much. But so many times, when it comes to people, right? We're not as quick to accept. We don't look at this first. And it's so crazy because like I'll take out a $20 bill like at elementary, middle school, and everybody's like, Mr. Peace, please, Mr. Peace, I'm your homeboy. I just met you. And they want the $20 bill. They don't care how it looks. 6-year-olds like, Mr. Peace, I don't care if he has dog graphics, I want the $20 bill. Okay, that's weird. But so they're so quick to accept, but then if someone's not the same, size as us and the right image in our minds, we're not as quick to accept. I had this 8th grader named Kelly, he's about my height. Football player, star right in the school, very well liked, very well respected. This girl moves to his school back in the fall. She got 3rd-degree burns all over her body. Her mom and her got trapped in a house fire. They had to switch districts because the house burned down. They both survived. First day she gets to his new school, he goes up to the girl, he says, "You're with me." Which meant nobody is going to mess with you. Had he gone up to her and said, "You're ugly," everybody would have followed that, but they followed his positive action. That's what leaders and influencers have. That's what all of you are here today, right? Even a crowd of 2,000 or 3,000, I know who the influencers are in those because I've done enough assemblies. I get the heart vibes. I know who those people are. That's your job, to create a tipping point. Tipping point takes 7%. School of 1,000, that's 70 students on board to make a change. You've created a new culture, right? I want to show this quick clip from Nick Vujicic, just so you guys can see him. And then we're going to build off of that. Can I play through through YouTube? How's your wireless connection? Yeah, let's go there. Okay, all right. Okay. Good.
First thing you
Oh,
think
that's right. Okay. Wait, is that an ad? Oh, it's an ad, sorry. All right, ads. Okay. So let's start one of these. Yep. Mm-hmm.
My name is Nick Vujicic, and I love traveling around the world, fishing, golfing, and swimming. I love living life. I am happy.
Remember those
fall down like this. Ready? Right? So what do you do when you fall down? Get back up. Everybody knows to get back up, because if I start walking, I'm not going to get anywhere. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. Do you think you have hope? Because I tell you, I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again, and again, and again. But I just want you to know that it's not the end. It matters how you're going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? And you will find that strength to get back up, like this.
You guys want to clap? You guys can clap. That's fine. It's so cool, you know, because he was a huge victim of bullying growing up, right? And to still be able to turn his life into something so positive is pretty neat. He's talking about keeping your head up when it comes to this topic, and my shirt's upside down on purpose. And I got a lot of fourth graders sometimes come up to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Peace, you know, your shirt's upside down." I'm like, "Yeah, it's supposed to be." But I also got these other ones that say, "One raised human." The peace sign on the back, you know. I think that's what it comes down to, is us being able to recognize someone for their worth, for their heart. If you guys look at your palms real quick, every one of you has an M etched on one of your palms. It's etched on your palm. If you need help finding it later, I can help you, but basically like that. This M stands for Michigan. I'm joking. The University of Michigan. It's right in my undergrad. But no, this M stands for miracle. Turned upside down, it stands for worthy. And that's something that so many of us need to recognize, right? Sometimes in ourselves, because we can't love anybody else unless we love ourselves first. But then also be able to see that side of somebody else. I always tell people, like, you know, when I first walked in here, I'm sure there's a lot of judgments about me, right? How I dress, how I look, how I act, and you know, I have different judgments about some of you wearing capes and things like that. But the idea is that it's fine to judge away, but then take the time to get past those judgments, right? To get to see somebody for that first. So, you know, we realize our impact. We know why it has to happen, our impact. We then look at someone's heart, their worth. And all of this is a choice. I'm talking to the school. I came back to have lunch with the students after spring break. I did an assembly right before this elementary school. I come back to the lunchroom, and this first grader, his name's Trey, he sees me from across the lunchroom. He's like, "Yo, Mr. Peace! Mr. Peace, my boy! Come here, Mr. Peace!" So I go up to him, you know, and I'm like, "Hey, Trey, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, man?" He's like, "Mr. Peace, do you remember when you talked to us about treating people with more compassion, respect, kindness, and love?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I went home that night, and I told my dad to start treating me, my mom, my sister with more kindness and love and peace." And he told me that his dad looked at him and said, "You don't ever talk to me like that. I'm an adult. You don't ever talk to me like that. He pushed him aside. A week later, his dad left. And there was a lot of other issues that were starting to lead up to that. But Trey comes back to school enraged. He was like on fire. He said, Mr. Peace, people are going to feel how I feel. People are going to feel my pain. And our eyes are locked. I'm looking at Trey. I'm like, Trey, look, man, you still have a choice to be a great brother, a great son, and one day you choose to become a father and break that cycle, an excellent dad. And I see his eyes just following every word that I'm saying. I see a tear coming down his cheek. And I'll never forget his next words. He says, I like chicken. I said, what? He said, yeah, Mr. Peace, they're serving chicken tenders for lunch today. I don't know if you knew that. So his first grader's minds are on to the next topic. But I come back like a week and a half later and walk down the hallway and Trey like tugs on my pants. Like, hey, Mr. Peace, guess what? I'm still treating people with respect and with kindness. He's 7 years old and choosing that. What an inspiration. You know, sometimes it's hard to maintain the peace when you get a phone call that your friend passed away at 24 years old. And there's nothing you can say or do. Yeah, that's protocol. You just pray for him at the friend's closed casket funeral. His only crime, not being buckled in the back seat. So when they hit the median, he flew at least 50 feet. Out the hatchback of his best friend's SUV, at least when it happened, he was already fast asleep. Now headed back home on 96 eastbound, took the cops a while just to track the body down. And at the viewing, you just sit and watch, but without a sound. While inside, you're screaming about the cough of half a lung. Numb to the touch, because it doesn't seem real. His boy only fell asleep for a second driving behind the wheel. But that's all it took, though. Can only imagine all the pain he feels. Friends have to bury their kid. It's surreal. There's so much pain. October 24th, 2010, I lost a dear friend of mine, Steve Nagel. His friend who was the DD, had a couple of beers, was buzzed, got behind the front wheel of the car. Steve wasn't buckled. He died on impact. The same month, I was diagnosed with hepatitis C. Inflammation of your liver. You need your liver to live. Freak accident, still don't know how I had it. Could have been through sports, I'm not positive. Go to the doctor, they put me on a revolutionary breakthrough treatment. Consists of 1 year, every week, self-injections. Once a week, 6 pills a day that make you want to throw up. It's liquid chemotherapy. I lost 40 pounds in a month. I was borderline anorexic. In and out of ER throughout all of the following year. Same time, I'm held up at gunpoint in Ypsilanti. 2 pistols cocked, and then your whole life flashed before your eyes. But then you have 2 choices, forgive or remain full of despise. I forgave them and prayed for them because they knew not what they do, and because hate in your heart will consume you too. Peace doesn't mean that you won't find violence, trouble, or noise. It means in the midst of all that stuff, all that chaos, you still find calm and inner joy. I didn't understand that right away going through all that. Same time frame, back to back to back to back funerals for 2 uncles, grandma, and a grandma. I became numb to pain. I became numb to life. Talked about dreams earlier. Had a dream, there was 2 polar bears in my dream. And they're scheming in this corner, asking each other what they do for a Klondike bar. And one of them's like, let's steal Mr. Peace's Jeep. So I heard the alarm go off, I come outside, this polar bear is in my Jeep driving away. I'm like, oh no. So I run, I latch on to the door, right? And I'm riding the Jeep with my feet are in the air and all that stuff, and polar bear bites my arm, and this is when I woke up. Bites my arm, and I didn't even feel a thing. You know, so many times you hear the question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? A scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? On a scale of 1 to 10, how many of you feel? Because I didn't for a long time. My balloon got real big. My heart got real full. And I'm telling you all this because I didn't care about anybody else except me. I started treating people the way I felt, like Trey was about to. But somewhere along the way, I changed my angle of vision. There was this guy who went to a cancer institute, all these patients. He brought this huge white board, kind of like at least 4 times this size, right? It's a nice foam cord. See that, Staples? But he brings this black marker and he puts one dot in the center of this white board. He says, I want you all to envision your cancer as that dot. And the white space are all the great things part of your life still. Your friends, your family, all the blessings you have, the air in your lungs, the life that you live, your talents, your skills, your dreams, your goals, everything. And when you shift it from something like that to this, it changes your whole perspective. You know what else? I realized that all these people that went before me, all the pain that had been caused from that in order to honor their legacy, the best way I could do that is by how I treat other people today. So I had this huge shift in my thinking, right? And look, everything in life is a choice. That's the beauty, right? It's also the tragedy. Because one choice can be your last. And when I think to myself, you know, how life is basically, to me, 1% what happens to you, it's 99% how you respond to it. That's up to you. And it's a choice on how you're going to treat other people. Right? It takes courage. It takes guts. Remember being back in 2nd grade, playing soccer on recess, right? And my friend Pat's in net. Bell's about to ring. And Pat lets in the game-winning goal. Pat, kind of like Kate I talked about earlier, parents didn't have a lot, wore the same outfit, was teased because of that, was not athletic at all, was teased because of that on a daily basis. So the other team wins. Everybody on my team except me, they huddle around Pat. I remember it vividly. And they said, what's wrong with you? How could you let that happen? Somebody sidesteps something, the other person pushes them, he trips. 5 years after high school, I'm having dinner with Pat. We reconnected. He said, Mr. Peace, I needed you back in elementary school. I needed you in middle school. I needed you in high school, and you weren't there for me. And it kills me to hear that. And I hope, in my heart of hearts, you guys never have to hear that from somebody. Pat and I are great friends now. Sometimes he comes to these talks with me to share his story. We started a couple of anti-bullying clubs. But for years, Pat shut off. He shut down. And finally, something in his heart opened up. He decided to have the courage to start healing and start giving that gift back to other people, right? But guys, it takes guts. And I remember my friends huddling around him, right? And what I chose to do at that particular time. I stood there. I did nothing. And I was very well respected. I was an athlete. I was popular, all those things. If I would have told those guys to knock it off, they would have listened to me. I could have got help, right? And somebody would have intervened. And I got so many students, whether they're in kindergarten or 12th grade, doesn't matter, they say, Mr. Peace, if I do that, then I'm being a tattletale. When I tell them about this girl, this 8th grader, she reached out to me, she DM'd me, said, Mr. Peace, my ex-boyfriend is calling me every name in the book, on social media, in the school hallways. I need help. It was getting to the point of becoming very serious, right? Almost a harassment issue. So I forwarded it onto the school counselor. She calls him, her, and a police officer into the office, and they end it right there. 2 weeks later, I come to have lunch. Christina runs up to me, hugs me, says, "Mr. Peace, you saved my life." My friend Gina, or G, from Chicago, freshman year of high school, in the freshman hallway, one of her friends who said he was her friend, bigger dude, football player, right? Just pure muscle, kind of like my build. And he just has this big booming voice. And throughout the entire freshman hallway, he's like, "Hey, OG, you're looking kind of big today, girl." One of his friends puts it on his phone, captures it, starts spreading it around school. G, a couple nights later, comes home, looks in the mirror, has been hearing a lot of these comments coming at her, and says, maybe I am starting to look a little big today. So she skips dinner that night. The next 4 nights, the next 4 weeks, the next 4 years. She ends up in the hospital, almost close to death. But he was just joking, right? You see, you can't tell me that it's tattletale when it comes to somebody's life. When it comes to potentially leaving a mark on someone's heart that could eventually last forever. Guys, it takes courage. And I remember, kind of my chance at redemption, I guess, but it was senior year in gym class. We're playing football, we're down 4 points. Class is about to end, and we need a touchdown to win. And I got 2 of my receivers on the right, just about as athletic as James over there. And they are actually on the varsity high school football team, right? On my left is Paul. He's a freshman. I was a senior, 12th grader. He's overweight, not a lot of friends, not athletic at all, always picked last, etc. In my mind, to be honest with you guys, I was going to thread the needle at any cost to get to these 2 guys. Even if I had to, get the ball in there somehow. Because that was my best shot to get a touchdown. So I hiked the ball. Ready, team, blow for the 2, untie my shoe, tip up 2, Elmer super glue, hike, and I hike it. My 2 guys sprint up, right, run different routes. And I'm buying some time in the pocket just so that we can get open and stuff. It's 2-hand touch. And they're totally covered. Paul's defender left him to go double team my best guy, right? So I can't even thread it's going to be an interception if I do. Last second, pocket collapses, about to get tagged. I let it go. And I release it. Towards Paul, who's standing wide open in the end zone. And the ball's sailing, right, in the air. And I'm like, oh, please give us the ball. And so it's going, and I see Paul, he puts both of his hands up like this. Like it's a field goal. And so, hits him right in the shoulder. Bounces like 5 feet in the air, right? And I've never seen someone this big that like dove after this ball. He was like airborne, he was like parallel to the ground. And Paul dove, and he snatched that ball. And he came down to his knee, Tim Tebow, and he was like, "I won't let you go, baby. I won't let you go." And we all run over him like, "Oh my gosh, Paul, yes, Paul, 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 Paul." And we were just so happy, right? And I couldn't believe it. And so a week later, I'm driving my car. I had a senior, so I had my car, and drive by the high school on the sidewalk, and I see Paul running. I've never seen Paul run in my life. For the miles in gym class, he would walk them. Paul opened on that last play, he walked to the end zone. No one was guarding him, he just walked down there. He turned around and was there. And I'm like, "Paul, what's going on, man? How you doing? I see you're running." He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm just trying to feel better about myself, just get in shape and everything." And I said, "Well, when did that start?" And he said, "The second that you chose to throw me the ball." I risked embarrassment and judgment getting ridiculed myself, bullying myself, just to include somebody. Not because I felt sorry for him or pity for him, but the last second something clicked in my mind. I said, I just want to make him feel welcome. Some sense of normalcy that so many of us take for granted. And you can't even imagine the impact it had in his life. That one action. I had teammates who were like, what's wrong with you, man? He was probably going to drop it. Why didn't you pass it to one of us, you know? And so for you to risk any of those things, harassment, and judgment, and getting bullied yourself, and ridicule, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You know, it's a choice. It takes courage, guys. And we need this to become a habit. Everybody fold your hands like this real quick. Put your hands together. All right. Does anybody know what this tells you about somebody, whether you have your right thumb over your left or left over right or side to side action going on with your thumbs? Anybody know what that means? Tells you about somebody? Yeah. Genetics? No. Anybody? Yeah.
Whether you're right or left-handed.
Right or left-handed? No. This right here, it tells you absolutely nothing about somebody. And this right here is a habit. This is a habit, right? Now, put your pinky location up one, and put your hands back together. And just shout out how that feels. How does it feel? Right? Just weird when I go back to your comfort zone. You see, the comfort zone, I'm kind of comfortable both ways now, but I've done it so many times, but comfort zone is a dangerous place to be. And it's in that comfort zone, it's in that storm that we grow, guys. You know, in order for a plan for new life to happen, we need a storm. We need rain. In order for a rainbow to happen, we need rain. There's a story of these buffalo and these cattle, and this huge like storm, tornado type storms coming at them, right? And the cattle just keep running away. They're going to eventually have to face that storm, but they don't want to do it right now. Buffalo are like, no, forget it, we're going to go through it and get over with it, right? So they go right through that storm. They move towards it, go through it, then they get out faster and grow because of it faster, right? See, we need to understand, guys, that we have the effort, not always the outcome. We can love, we can't always change. So what that means is that, you know, there's going to be people out there that you're going to try to say hi to, you're going to try to smile at, they're just going to keep walking. But they'll never forget that action, ever. And we can't necessarily control the outcome. We can only control our effort, right? And this just isn't with respect to bullying. Guys, this has to do with every single area of our life. What's the opposite of success? No. Opposite of success, not failure. What is it? Sort of, not trying. What else? Yeah?
Learning.
No. Say it?
Giving up.
Yes, giving up. Thank you. Opposite of success is quitting or giving up. You cannot fail unless you quit. Guys, so many famous people have failed before us in other aspects of their life just to succeed, right? It took Edison 10,000 tries to get these working, these lights. He said every attempt I don't get, every 10,000 that doesn't work, I'm not failing. It's just one way, finding another way that just doesn't work, right? Babe Ruth, the all-time leaders in home runs, had 1,330 strikeouts. He said, every strike brings me closer to the next home run. And now he's a great candy bar, too. You think about the Beatles, right? They got dropped from Decca recording studios. They said guitar music's on the way out. We don't like their music. We thought you lost your love. Well, I saw her yesterday. And so she's thinking of her. And she told me what to say. She said she loves you. And you know, sorry, but Beatles, there's the biggest mistake they could have ever made. Oprah Winfrey said she was unfit for TV. Oprah Winfrey's a billionaire now. She has her own T&T Vine. Try it. Every time I go to the store like at Coney Greek Island, and they do that Oprah thing, as soon as they're about to say Oprah, I go, Oprah. But, so, Jim Carrey, Dropped out of high school. He was your age, sophomore. His dad drove to the comedy gigs in the van that they were living out of. They were homeless. That's how he provided for his family. Bethany Hamilton, soul surfer, got bit by a shark, one arm off. 2 years later, wins a national surfing championship. Bill Gates, his first business failed, travel data, sold it for $50. It's not worth Bill Gates' time to pick up a $100 bill if he drops it. He makes $114 a second with his return rate, a very low return rate. The lowest possible. Bill Gates makes, last time I checked, $23,146 a minute. Guys, Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. You're lucky they didn't come out. But he was fired from 7-Eleven, said he talked too much. Elvis Presley, the king of rock. His first gig, the guy said, boy, you ain't going nowhere. You ought to go back to driving a truck. Marilyn Monroe, who cut from 20th Century Fox, told she was unattractive, she couldn't act. Albert Einstein was called retarded. Couldn't speak till he was 4, couldn't read till he was 7. They said he was using about 90% of his brain, most of us use like 10 to 20. One of these Nobel Peace Prizes, he said there's 2 ways to view life. One is though nothing's a miracle, one is though everything is a miracle. I mean, all these famous people that have failed before us just to succeed. Michael Jordan, right? He got cut from his varsity team, trying out as a freshman, went home, locked himself in the room, cried himself to sleep, said, I never want to feel that feeling in my stomach again. He said, I failed over and over and over and over and over and over again, missed all these game-winning shots, buzzer beaters, just to succeed. Now he has Hanes, tagless boxer briefs and t-shirts. Am I wearing some of that right now? Maybe. And so, you know, all these famous people, right? Probably the craziest example, this is called Portrait of an Achiever. One second. I got the iPhone 7. It's trying to learn it. My friend works for Apple. I got it in advance. Just a second. Just kidding, it's the 5C. So, Portrait of an Achiever. 1831, failed in business, bankruptcy. 1832, defeated for legislature. 1834, failed in business again, bankruptcy. 1835, sweetheart, fiance dies. 1836, nervous breakdown. 1838, 43, 46, 48, defeated for U.S. Congress. 1855, defeated for U.S. Senate. 1856, defeated for U.S. Vice President. 1858, defeated again for U.S. Senate. 1860, elected President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. You cannot fail unless you quit. There are these people that, you know, they came to this edge of the cliff. And this guy's like, no, come to the edge. And they're like, no, we can't. We'll fall. He said, no, come to the edge. He said, we can't. We'll fail. He said, come to the edge. They said, we can't. We're scared. So he pushed them. And they flew. So you guys, we have a choice. It don't matter what's happened to us. No matter what someone's called us or said to us. My story, I was valedictorian my high school, 4.0, Southland High, class of 03. I came to Michigan, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Got my first B+, my first C+ on an exam. I looked around a class of 700 students, and I thought to myself, I am not as good of a human being as these people sitting next to me. But I saw I had A- on their papers, or A's. And it wasn't until my senior year I started saying, you know what, I got my own talents, my own abilities, my own gifts. I gotta focus on that. Comparison is the quickest road to unhappiness. And so I did that. I started working in the auto industry. I worked at an automotive supplier for 5 years out of high school, got my master's in business administration from Wayne State University. 2010, I graduated there. 2010, that summer, I left corporate America. They say most heart attacks happen at 9 a.m. Monday morning. The place I was at started to kind of become toxic. And I said to myself, you know, I'm still young enough. I gotta at least try this. This was my dream, this is my passion. I was taking my vacation days to go speak. I said, I gotta try. First couple years were tough. I had a lot of people drinking the Haterade. And how are you gonna afford this? And how can you do this? How are you going to make any money? And 21 questions come in, and I said, look, I don't know. But I know when I'm doing this, every fiber of my being, I'm 110% alive. So it hasn't been easy transitioning as a speaker, you know. I'm also a youth minister at a church in Novi. And I do hip hop, I do house parties. But, so, this is, I feel like totally aligned with my calling, with my purpose. And, you know, that's what I want for all of you guys. To let go of that fear, number one, but then also start to embrace the leader that is in each and every one of you, the miracle inside each and every one of you. And we can together save more lives. And it becomes that choice. Whether we encourage or not, to either tear down or build up. It's one of my favorite poems. I know I'm getting close to my time here. It's called Tearing the Building Down. It says, I saw them tearing the building down, a group of men in a busy town. With a mighty heave and a hefty yell, they swung a beam and the sidewalls fell. I asked the foreman if these men as skilled as the men you would use if you were going to build. He gave a chuckle and said, no indeed, common labor is all I need. He said, you know, we can wreck in just a day or two what it takes builders years to do. And I thought to myself as I walked on my way, which of these roles in life do I play? Am I living my life with truth and care, carefully measuring by the rule and the square? Or am I the wrecker who walks the town, content with the job of tearing down? And that's kind of really where I put myself, to determine my own success, what I see as success. And for me, that's trying to heal hearts, right? Reaching hearts, changing lives, that's my motto. And really just try and help other people at least, maybe not find their passions, but at least begin to search for their passions. Because that's what all of these leaders that have come back year after year, something just lit them on fire inside. That's why they're giving up their time and energy and days to be with you guys, because it means that much to them. That's why they get out of bed in the morning. They got that fuel, right? So, lay go my ego and let go my ego. And please give me everything I could ever need and more. To not be afraid to go, to not be afraid to cause a commotion, to not be a robot going through the motions. I won't conform, heck no, I'll be formed by the truth till I've broken every single norm. And then transformed, call me Optimus Prime, bulletproof to temptation in any man's lies. Don't shy off the beaten path, freaking leave off. And that mold they put you in, scream out it. Because when bombarded by torrential rain, the only way to get through it is to face strain. Take it head on, embrace for any consequence. People hating up a storm weather's inclement. But I'm chopping at the bit ready to make a scene, till the coward in me's been blown to smithereens. Giving off this aroma anywhere I go, of love. Let it penetrate my soul. And any ramification coming my way, same approach Gandhi used back in the day. Guys, I appreciate you touching my hearts today. I'll be here, throughout the day. If you need to talk one-on-one. If you need to reach out to me, my website, www.mrpeace.net, mrpeace.net. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, email, Instagram, all that stuff's there. I also got some cards. So if you guys want to grab one of those, some DVDs of some of my assemblies, if you want to take some back to your school. I'd love the opportunity to come share my heart at some of your schools if I had the time and energy. Like I said, I've been so blessed to be speaking across the state. As a youth minister, some past HOBYs, I've come to some of your churches and youth organizations, to youth groups. So if you'd like me to come talk on a faith-based issue, I'd be happy to do that. But I do public schools as well. And I love that opportunity to just try to bring some change to some of your schools too. I got a sign-up list, just your name and email, and I'll send you a note in August sometime with details where you can forward to your principal or whoever it is if you think something really struck your heart today, struck a heart chord. But again, you guys are great. I appreciate your time, and the opportunity to share my heart this morning. Thank you.